40% of the people still don't think we won.
I understand that.
Do you understand that, Mr. President?
Sucking the blood out of
Take
kids.
the vaccines! You got
Neanderthal thinking.
I started the Neanderthal caucus.
Did you get to take a bathroom break? And I didn't.
Peter McCarthy says it's against the science.
freedom!
I have the freedom to kill you.
Do not know what you are talking about.
Dr. Fauci! Dr. Fauci!
You're ranting again.
All right, time for the Last American Podcast. Yes.
What's going on? My name is Garrett. You can follow me on social media at Don't Stop Keep Going.
I'm Arthur Dubinsky. You follow me on Arthur Dubinsky on Instagram. Okay, so first story up. Trump.
So Trump came out at the UFC this weekend with the most amazing intro video. Whoever his PR person is needs to be promoted because it's such an amazing intro. He comes in with Metallica. He's got Kid Rock going. The whole crowd in Florida is like losing their minds for him. I mean, it's like a professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah! And I've set up and torn out this stage with my own two hands. We've traveled this land, packed tight in minivans. And all this for the fans, girls, money, and fame. I played their game and had to scream my name. I will show no shame. I live and die for this. And if I come off soft, then you on this.
Are you scared?
I'm an American badass. Watch me kick. 45 in the building to set the stage from Miami, Florida. What an atmosphere. American badass. Single in black, so throw a finger in the air. Let me see where you're at and say, hey.
Greatest president in the history of the world, sitting right there. I love that guy. And let's take that. Let's go Brandon motherfucker out of power and replace him. Let's go Brandon!
He's really got the dynamics in his favor. Everyone's saying this is the greatest thing known to man, and everyone loves him. It's pretty much like a whole Super Bowl just for him.
I mean, I would listen to that song in my car coming up here. I mean, I got hyped, you know, and it's almost comical that the President of the United States is running under the I Am the American Badass with Kid Rock, like, right next to him, and, like, UFC fighters shouting him out. It's really kind of insane.
It's very, very American, let's put it that way. It's he's just driving right up the center on that American lane.
I mean, his PR person, Joe Biden's PR person is like, what can we do to come up with something better than this? You know, you can't have Joe Biden come out to Metallica.
No.
You can't have the whole UFC cheering for Joe Biden. Like, how?
He would be booed. It would be a terrible thing. He would have to be at some women's event or something like that, you know, for handicapped.
Some transgender women's event.
Handicapped American event or something. Okay, next story. This is about
your boy Joe Biden.
Them trying to ruin the mortgage.
Yeah, so they recently changed what it takes to qualify for a loan, and if you have lower than a 620 FICO score, you get a discount, whereas if you have higher than a 740 FICO score, you would pay 1.5% more, which is pretty insane because I've worked my entire life to have a good credit score, and now I can't afford a house. And
they just sent this through the pipeline, and the insurance companies are like, I guess we're just going to wreck people that have good credit.
Life is pain! I wake up every morning, I'm in pain. I go to work in pain.
I don't know. I've never heard of this. And this is after California already did the California mansion tax, which is they just tax everyone with a super expensive house. So everyone sold their house this year just so that they wouldn't have to pay it for upcoming. So the housing market's going to slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah, we're going to have a very interesting time here in California with the housing prices. I personally am thinking that there's going to be 15 to 25% drop over the next 2 years.
Well, this
is
tied. This is a weird situation because we got the banks having such a huge change to mortgage rates, and on top of that, the banks themselves already having a hard time with their purchases of U.S. Treasury bonds, which you thought were secure, and they're just getting raked over the coals. People are shorting banks right now. It's bad.
Yeah, it is funny that yeah, I'm very interested in what's going to happen here.
Like what?
We've just had 3 or 4 banks.
Yeah,
go
3 or 4 banks, and then I had this guy was on. I don't remember. It was one of the news stations, and he was saying, "Oh, banks go down all the time." I was like, "They don't all go down in 1 week."
Yeah, and they just keep going up. You know, I was actually looking at purchasing some short options for just having like a long short option on a lot of banks.
We're trying to really save the economy by driving it into the dirt.
Why are you the way that you are?
Okay, next up, we got our buddy. We got Florida Man segment.
This week's Florida Man segment brought to you by the state of Florida.
As you can see, great times on the floats.
Yeah, just out floating, you know.
Just ordering.
Floating to the local Dairy Queen.
Ordering some fast food. In a flood.
I love Florida.
I don't know what's so funny about this meme is that is there actual people in there? Is this like the Waffle House where it never closes? It's just always open.
It's like flooded and someone came to work. Yeah.
Yeah. There's tons of things to think about. Okay. Back to more interesting news. We got this China clip that's awesome.
红色是表示你的专注力显示得很高。
Teachers at this primary school in China
蓝色是走神了。
know exactly when someone isn't paying attention.
白色就是你可能跟网络还没有连接好。
These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. China has big plans to become a global leader in artificial intelligence. It has enabled a cashless economy where people make purchases with their faces. A giant network of surveillance cameras with facial recognition helps police monitor citizens. Meanwhile, some schools offer glimpses of what the future of high-tech education in the country might look like.
做出选择吧 Good job!
Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes. These gadgets have alarmed Chinese netizens. But schools say it wasn't hard for them getting parental consent to enroll kids into what is one of the world's largest experiments in AI education. A program that's supposed to boost students' grades while also feeding powerful algorithms.
为了就是国家的这个研究呀、发展呀，我觉得是没有问题。
China, this like basically entire society of like 1 billion people, they're living in a techno tyranny.
You know, I mean, I think China's doing they're doing a good job of building a society of super smart people. I don't think any of them are happy, but I think that they're going to go on to be very smart. They're going to build an amazing army.
Yeah.
And, you know, people can't get away with anything there. You know, I mean, with the social economics and people watching your face everywhere you go.
Yeah, they got the robots that can scan your emotions to see like if you're hostile or happy or anything.
I mean, if you had that stuff in America, you know,
everyone would just be hostile. Everybody would be a
the line between protection of national security, obviously the government's need to obtain intelligence data, and the protection of civil liberties, particularly the sanctity of life.
So it's going to be, I don't know, like I said, I think China's really plans to take over the world eventually, and that's their goal. And I think what they're going to do is build a giant super army.
Yeah, like they're already doing what we're afraid of, which is the central bank currency. Like that's already there.
Yeah.
They're already doing it. They're already stopping people from taking the train to another city because they littered last week. they're cut off from travel. So it's very interesting what our future is going to be like, because we our great leaders here like to pattern themselves after the worst.
Well, we're slowly moving towards a
you
know, some sort of other currency aside from the dollar eventually.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, if there was no tracking and there was no cash, I mean, you got to think about how great it is to have like a cashless or be able to have cash transactions that are untraceable, you know, whereas like,
right.
you know, if there's always a record of it,
yeah,
it can be a slippery slope. You know?
It's definitely leading into some not good territory. So we're gonna move ahead. We're gonna go into Frederick Banting. We just read this. We saw this clip about this is a personal story for you. The inventor of insulin and the story about him. It's very interesting. This guy invented insulin, thought it was for the world. He's like, I have this great invention. It could save thousands, hundreds, millions of people's lives, and I'm just going to give it to everybody. But I don't know how to give it to everybody, so I'm going to give it to who I think will distribute it the best. The University of Toronto. Okay? And what did the geniuses at the University of Toronto do? They give it to pharmaceutical corporations, and guess what pharmaceutical corporations do? They patent it. And guess what happens when they patent it? They jack the price to $1 trillion.
Yeah. And it's just funny because, you know, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and the cost is absolutely outrageous at what they could charge for insulin. You know, I mean, luckily, you know, I come from means and, like, I'm able to take care of myself. But, I mean, I couldn't imagine being, like, a broke 18-year-old kid and having to pay, you know, more than $1,000 to $2,000 a month. I mean, that's like a Porsche payment, you know? I mean, that's an expensive auto loan or, like, a boat loan. And it's just something that, like, people have to deal with for their entire lives.
The key to the story is that it's not that, pharmaceutical corporations got it and they're ruining everything that the inventor wanted to do. It's that he gave it to this university of PhD holders and thought that they knew what they were doing. And they just wreck havoc. Kind of like what's happening in the U.S. government. Yeah. Everyone with these degrees that are advanced are just wrecking everything. So I don't know. We're living in the upside down world. So we're going to move ahead. And we got, what is this? Car companies are dropping AM radio.
It's all over. Bye-bye.
AM radio, and there's all kinds of subjects on AM radio, by the way. It's like everything. And all of a sudden, they're saying that the electric vehicles interfere with AM radio transponders, and the frequency itself is a problem. So they're saying this to I don't know, they're just saying we need to get rid of it. It's a problem. We don't even need it. We don't have a use for it. No one listens to AM radio. But the problem is, in the United States, AM radio is all of the conservative thought, right? It's on AM radio. So basically, they're just like, let's just get rid of all this conservative talk, you know, because it's not just California and New York. In the middle of the country, like the AM radio, the AM frequency is the strongest. It's way stronger than FM, so you can get it for longer. So when you're in Arkansas and in Kansas, that stuff, you can listen to the radio forever. And it just keeps going. So
it's funny because I never listened to AM radio once in my life. I've always had XM in my car. And I got in the car with Arthur the other day. And it's just really funny because, like, they have, you know, these people could be millionaires, pilots, PhDs, brilliant people. And they're on AM radio talking to, like, 2 or 3 people. Yeah. And it's like, who's listening to this? And they do cover some interesting topics. And, I mean, they really change to a lot of topics. You know?
I mean, There's the car guy at Saturday morning. Anyways, the thing is that Europe has stated that they don't actually use AM at all in Europe anymore. They have some digital frequency, so it's totally null and void, but here, it's still important. So Ford just says that they're going to give it up on all their new cars, to 35. And so, is that a big deal? Are they basically wrecking the conservative thought on
I don't think anybody on this show is listening to AM radio. Comment below if you listen to AM radio.
I know.
Please.
This is just for the lunatics in cars. Okay, next up, the most important story. BRICS.
Is the United States dollar under threat? Well, the U.S. dollar became the backbone of the global economy after World War II because of America's robust economy, its democracy, and its transparent regulatory systems, which made the nation seem like a safe place for international investors. But now the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have announced plans to develop a new currency.
What is it? Why do you care? What's going on? Okay, we're talking about Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. What are they doing?
They're basically trying to overthrow the U.S. dollar. And,
Yes.
And and they're trying to overthrow the U.S. dollar. And what's going to happen from that is essentially we've been the U.S. Reserve or the world reserve currency for almost 100 years.
The petrodollar.
And now that they're trading for fuel and oil in the yuan, we're definitely not going to be in a good place.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a slippery slope for the United States. And what used to back our dollar was we used to have gold backing the dollar.
Yeah.
We stopped doing that.
Yeah.
And then we had our military backing the dollar, but now our military is looking a little.
Yeah. They just had a new ad for the military. A transgender guy saying, "Join the Navy." Like, this is not bode well for confidence in our power.
I mean, we're not looking good as a unit, so we'll see. I mean, I don't want to talk a ton of trash about the U.S. military, but I don't think we're the strongest. And I look around at, like, a lot of my peers that are in their, mid-20s, early 20s, and I couldn't imagine those guys fighting in a war.
Well, they said that there's a new poll out that says that only 12% of America is ready to fight for America.
That's
not in the
I
military, just for America in general. Like, it's very suspect at the moment what's going on in America. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. Japan is buying Russian oil. Even while the war in Ukraine is still going on, we have everyone jumping ship. We got India trading with France for natural gas. They're not using the U.S. dollar anymore, even though France is all this talk about allies, our close allies, all our allies, and they're like,
I see no question of our credibility from our allies around the world. I've spoken with our NATO allies. We've spoken with NATO allies, the Secretary of State. Our National Security Advisor has been in contact with his counterparts throughout the world and our allies.
They're like, oh, wait, we could take a dump on America? Let's do it.
Well, also, another big one that joined BRICS is Mexico, which I'm like, it's insane that we've welcomed so many people into Mexico.
We are protecting Japan directly from North Korea, and they're like, by the way, we're buying Russian oil, and Mexico's like, oh, by the way, we live right next to you, and like there's a flood coming into your country. Doesn't matter, we're buying everything on the world market. We don't care about the US dollar. Very interesting situation. I don't know what allies means anymore. It probably doesn't mean anything.
I think America was, a bully for a long time,
Yes.
and I think a lot of countries are fed up, and they're trying to do something about it.
Yes. We don't actually at the moment have anyone to really stick it to anybody at the moment.
Very nice words, but happens to be wrong.
Moving on, San Francisco. What's going on? We got grocery stores that literally the entire thing looks like a bank, where all the stuff is locked up. And all these stores are closing. What's going on in San Francisco?
I mean, you basically just said it perfectly. I mean, I went up there recently, and I'd never been to San Francisco, and I was like, oh, I've seen it in so many movies. It looked like such a nice place, and it was just like, just trash. I mean, the biggest homeless encampments you've ever seen.
The smell.
The smell is unbearable. Like, I was looking at some of these houses, and I was like, people pay, upwards of $3 million for like a normal house to like live in this.
The second you open your door outside your house, it literally smells like a urine lake. And there's no water on the ground. It's just the entire concrete smells like urine.
Yeah, it's just
very unusual place. And the straight robbery of all stores that are open is very crazy.
Yeah, the robbing is excessive, and I mean nobody can stop you anymore. So it's just like, what's the point? I was at a local CVS here in LA the other day, standing in line to buy something, and this homeless person comes in, just takes a ton of stuff. Walking out the door with the arms full, and the little lady behind the counter is like, stop, and he says some derogatory remarks to her, and just walks out the door, with $100 of stuff, and I stood in line and waited to pay like $2 for this candy bar when I was like, this guy can just get it for free.
Dude,
am I dumb for? And he'll qualify for a home loan before I do, which is absolutely
it all
insane.
goes back to what is going on. Why are we doing this? Okay, moving on. Farmer protest in the Netherlands turns into a farmer government running the show, telling the EU to go stick it where the sun don't shine.
There's a bunch of the political system in us. If we had a farmer revolt It would take years in the American big.
Well, we would.
System.
We have
such an issue.
We have things that they don't have over there in Europe. We have the CIA, the NSA, the FBI. We have like Waco.
Down! Please stop! Keep your hands in the air and get on the ground. There are women and children in here. Get on the ground now.
We could put these guys down in 1,000 ways. We can undermine everything about them. You know, the media will say that they'll make up any story about them, so they don't have this kind of tyranny and this kind of madness in their government structure, so they're actually able to band together and actually accomplish anything. We in California can't build a speed train. We've been trying to do it for 20 years. It's impossible, apparently. Even though Japan just keeps making faster speed trains, we can't do it at all. All right. So, let's see. Alex Jones, always right. It's just too much, this clip.
I absolutely support Alex Jones. I think he said some very crazy, very outlandish stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy's kind of been right quite a few times, and he called Tucker Carlson, leading.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's telling too much of the truth. They're gonna get rid of him.
Yeah,
that's what happened. They're like, he's talking about Big Pharma. He's talking about the war in Ukraine. This guy's out of here.
And it was crazy because when Tucker got kicked off of Fox, he called us first thing and wanted to come on this show, and we were like, Tucker, we just don't have the budget.
Yeah.
That you're.
Yeah, we can do it in your studio.
Yeah, we can do it in your studio. Ours is
Yeah, a little on the budget. Okay, the border is just completely open. I just saw this story where they said that the border crossing is 90% down. It is just a wild going on there. I saw this clip just recently. We're going to play it.
They got the idea to take the land route on social media and drew on influencers, private groups, and comments to plan their trips. We're blurring their faces and not naming them to protect their identity.
I go to Hong Kong from my Hubei first, and then to Thailand from Hong Kong by plane, and then Turkey from Thailand by plane, and Ecuador, and up through the South America to America here.
Just everybody and their moms down there. We got the Chinese, we got Iranians, we got all kinds of people down there, just like in line to come in and just that's it. They just dump them wherever the city they want to go to, and then I don't understand it. Like, what happens? They just get a job doing what? I don't know.
I have a funny story. One time, I went down to Tijuana with some friends, and I didn't have a passport with me.
Okay.
And when we came back across the border, I was very stressed about not having a passport, and all my friends said it wouldn't be an issue. And we get through the passport, and I tell them I don't have a passport, and they send me into this room, and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to be a prisoner in Mexico. And they look at me, and they go, "It's you again." And I had never been to Mexico before. This was my first time in Mexico, and they're like, "It's you again." I'm like, no, like, it's not me again. This is no. And they checked my ID, and they're like, "All right, $20." And I was allowed.
Gotta love the Mexican system.
And I was allowed back into America, no problem. So
interesting story, just complete chaos. They're ending the virus protection thing, for stopping people from coming over. So it's just going to be a full madhouse from now on. Do with that information as you will. But more importantly, we are living in the multi-job economy. Okay,
Yeah.
One job not enough. Gotta hustle all day.
3 jobs minimum you have to do.
Yeah, go to your day job, take a siesta for 40 minutes, go to your next job, and then do a side hustle at night.
Start an e-com store.
Yeah.
Start trading stock options.
Drop
start
shipping.
Drop shipping.
Yeah.
The marketing.
Yeah.
Become a social media influencer. Start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
All of these are amazing side hustles.
And guess what? You'll barely be able to buy anything still because inflation's going through the roof.
What you have to do is lower your credit score, and once you lower your credit score with the 3 side hustles,
you'll
be doing okay.
So this goes into our Florida banning central bank currency. The crypto is crazy right now. We don't know what's going on with crypto. We got the government threatening, or the world government threatening, to do a central bank currency, which, by the way, they already have in China. Okay, so we see it happening. We see what it does. And do we want it? Why do we want it?
You know, well, Florida's banning it, which makes complete sense to me because, like, you can't have the government controlling. We just saw what China's doing, and we can't go that route. And now it looks like the government is trying to institute their own form of cryptocurrency.
Right.
And now it's like, is it going to be Bitcoin? Is it going to be XRP? Is it going to be something totally different that the government creates on their own?
Well, it's very similar to the situation with BRICS because currently they're all using the Chinese yuan or trading amongst themselves in their own currencies, which makes it a little difficult. So they actually want to start a new currency to trade in for just the BRICS countries. And so for our central bank currency, is that what we're going to start doing? Are we going to have a regional currency? Are we just going to do an American one? Are we doing it for all the West, for Europe and America? What are we doing?
Well, my biggest question is, if we do institute a new currency, what happens, like hypothetically, let's say you have $50,000 US in the bank, and then we start a new currency. Does the currency exchange 1-to-1?
Yeah.
Do you get 10 Dogecoin for your $1? Or how does this play out?
Right, because every different country has their own rate, right? So what is the rate that they're going to exchange in?
And is it backed by anything? You know, I mean, it'd be cool if it was backed by gold and we never printed more, or never not printed, but digitally mined, I guess, more.
And is it going to be, what style is it going to be? Is it going to be inflationary? Is it going to be deflationary? Are they going to be able to burn coins? What are we talking about here? Are they going to be able to just create coins like a corporation? They just print out more coins, right? Or more tokens or whatever. And is that what is this basically Argentina all over again?
Well, I mean, it's really cool too in America, because now it's like you can do all cash transactions. The burrito spot down the street, actually, you know, I pay in cash, and I have a feeling they really probably don't report that on their taxes.
Thank God.
People can do these transactions and not be kept, and that was the original idea behind crypto. Was like, you know, when Bitcoin came
anonymous transactions.
Silk Road was the name of the website, right?
Yes.
Where people were able
black
to
market,
were buying things on the black market like that. But now it's like, okay, if we have a U.S. cryptocurrency,
right?
First of all, does all other cryptocurrency even matter anymore, or is that obsolete?
The whole crypto market is in a big kerfluffle right now because what's happening is they don't know. Nobody knows. Coinbase, the biggest crypto trader from US dollar to crypto coins, doesn't know what's going on. They've been there from the beginning. They're like, what's going on? The government's like, we don't know. We might ban certain coins, we might not, or we might tax you. So they're like, should we remain in the United States? And they could go to the Bahamas, they can go to Seychelles, they can go somewhere that's a tax haven or just a regulation haven. They don't know what the United States is doing. And that's a concern because if they leave and Robinhood leaves, we will not be able to trade out crypto for the denomination of the country. So even though the idealistic world of the Bitcoiner is to only trade in Bitcoin, right, is to get rid of the U.S.
You know what's funny is I've seen so many, such few, for being a currency, and like I see it more as a store of wealth because I've seen very few people buy anything in cryptocurrency.
Well, because it's in such a volatile market. They haven't got to the point where it has evened out where you can actually trade because it's so, you know, like the Argentinian peso, it's in such a crazy ride that people don't even want to trade in it because they're like, I just want to hold it like a store of value. And if it goes to $1 million, I'm rich. If it doesn't, I'm poor, right?
Yeah.
So people don't know what to do. They don't want to, because to Tuesday, it'll be 1,000. Wednesday it'll be 800. You know,
well,
Friday.
I mean, it'd be really nice if our new currency, if it did end up being a digital currency, was backed by gold, and then we didn't abandon the gold standard, and we were just like living in like a previous time, and it was like, okay, there's only this much crypto,
right,
of the US dollar coin or whatever it's going to be,
Yeah.
and then it's backed by X amount of gold, and we all operate within that means. Seems like society would have a lot less inflation and a lot less problems.
That could be true. The thing about gold that's very interesting is the gold, there's people that are just mowing down the forest to find gold. So it's a very interesting idea. Would you rather have a warehouse in Texas just burning electricity trying to find certain codes to unlock nodes that have the Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have a guy from Texas go to the Congo and mow down acres and acres of forest land trying to find gold? That is the question that keeps us up at night.
That is the question that keeps us up at night.
Yes, and this is the end. This is the last American podcast.
Thank you. Have a great night.